Hi there and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's dive into today's top stories. Pundit now urges Mikel Arteta to use a £12 million player with Declan Rice in midfield. Arsenal signed two big-name midfielders this summer, but somehow it still feels as though the Gunners' midfield is slightly unbalanced. Indeed, Kai Havertz's poor start to life at the Emirates has caused plenty of problems for the North London club so far, and there is a real case to be made that Havertz should be replaced in the starting 11 going forwards. Arteta needs to make a real decision in his midfield, and according to Adrian Clark, speaking on the Handbrake Off podcast, one solution could be to use both Jorginho and Declan Rice in this position. Clark stated that he'd like to see the £12 million midfielder playing with Rice and Arsenal side. He said, "These are the players that do the quiet work. Without Jorginho and Rice calming things, the star players can't do their thing. I am a big fan of both players and I would like to see them both play together. It worked out okay versus Man United in the end, but we asked a lot of Declan in the game defensively, especially when they broke on us. It would certainly be interesting to see both Jorginho and Rice in the same midfield. Neither player is the most attack-minded, but we have seen Rice make those surging runs from deep many times for West Ham. So maybe if Jorginho was playing alongside him, he could be given more freedom to bump forward and attack. The balance of such a midfield would be intriguing, and perhaps it's something that Mikel Arteta should consider going forwards." Journalist reckons a £25 million Arsenal player might not start versus Everton. Arsenal face a tough fixture after the international break as they play away to Everton, and journalist Isaan Khan believes Gabriel Magalhaes may not be able to start for the North London club. It has been a good start for Arsenal as they have managed 3 wins and 1 draw in the Premier League, but their performances have not been perfect. The £25 million defender has been in and out of the starting lineup so far this season for tactical reasons. This is something that may have surprised fans of the club. He started in their 3-1 victory just before the international break against Manchester United and was crucial as he managed to spring a crucial offside trap which prevented a goal. Over the international break, the player suffered a possible injury, with defensive-minded Arsenal players like Thomas Partey and Yurian Timber already injured. Mikel Arteta needs Gabriel available for selection. Writing for the Daily Mail about the defender's injury, reporter Isaan Khan said, "Gabriel should be fit to feature once again following his reintroduction to the Arsenal side against Manchester United. However, it's not certain, having gone through 2 injury scares whilst playing for Brazil recently, particularly against Bolivia, so Mikel Arteta may play the cautious approach on this one and start him on the bench. This is no doubt a worrying update, as the club are clearly still unsure about whether Gabriel can feature on the weekend against Everton. Last season, in the same fixture, Arsenal lost 1-0 to Everton, and therefore they need their best players. The fact that the journalist reckons that Gabriel may not be ready to start the match is a big blow. Hopefully, when the players start returning from international duty this week, Arteta will be able to get a clearer idea of whether the defender is carrying an injury. Arsenal star impressing in training and game time could come soon. Arsenal's backup goalkeeper David Raya is reportedly impressing in training, and the feeling seems to be that game time is now not too far away. That's according to Isaan Khan of the Daily Mail, who says there will be a lot of games coming up soon, meaning there should be more of an opportunity for Raya to get into the team ahead of Aaron Ramsdale. Raya joined Arsenal on loan from Brentford in the summer, but is yet to make his debut for the Gunners, even though some fans will surely feel it's worth giving him a run after some slightly unconvincing recent displays from Ramsdale. The England international has mostly impressed in his time at the Emirates Stadium, but his recent record with keeping clean sheets, particularly at home, isn't great, and he didn't cover himself in glory in the recent 2-2 draw at home to Fulham. Raya shone at Brentford and looks like a good option for Mikel Arteta to have, so it will be interesting to keep an eye on how this saga develops. It's important to have competition in every position in a top squad, and Raya's presence should at least ensure Ramsdale is under pressure to up his game. Pundit says he would drop £100,000 a week player from the Arsenal team now. Mikel Arteta has a few selection headaches at Arsenal right now. The Spaniard needs to decide on his number one goalkeeper after signing David Raya. He needs to decide on what he is going to do about the Kai Havertz situation, while there is also a real conundrum up front. Indeed, now that Gabriel Jesus is back fit, Arteta has to choose between the Brazilian and Edin Ketia. Nketiah has started the season in fine form, but according to Adrian Clark, speaking on the Handbrake Off podcast, it may be time for the £100,000 a week striker to drop out of the starting 11 in favor for Jesus. Clark spoke about the striker. He said, "Yeah, it's harsh on Eddie because he couldn't have done much more, but Jesus is the better striker. And if he is fit, and he is fit now, you play him. You definitely play him in a tough fixture like this. I know we are saying Everton are poor, but because of our record there, this is a tough fixture for us." As Clark says, it would be harsh to drop in Kataya at this point, but the best way to win any game is to play your best 11. Everton ultimately proved to be a real banana skin of a fixture for Arsenal last season, and the Gunners need to get through this game unscathed this time around. Nketiah might be playing brilliantly, but the reality is that Jesus is Arsenal's best striker, and in all honesty, he should be starting whenever he is able to. Sadly, Nketiah's spell in the Arsenal starting 11 may be becoming to an end. Pundit says £16 million man has quietly become so important for Arsenal. A starting 11 can win you games, but a full squad will win you a league title. Indeed, in this day and age, depth is more important than ever, and Arsenal have plenty of options in their squad these days. After years of struggling in this area, it finally feels as though Arsenal have a full and comprehensive squad of talented players to call upon. The North London club have been very clever in their recruitment as they have signed numerous versatile players to play in multiple positions. One such a player is Takahiro Tomiyasu. The Japan international is able to play all across the back four, and according to Adrian Clark, speaking on the Handbrake Off podcast, the defender has become one of Mikel Arteta's most important players. Clark was full of praise for the £16 million man. He said, "There is an argument to suggest that Tomiyasu, even though he is not in our starting 11s, he is one of Mikel Arteta's most important players at the moment. I would certainly agree with that sentiment. He is shown for Japan and for us that he is a pretty good centre back, and he is excellent cover for William Saliba in the right-sided centre back position. Tomiyasu may not be as talented as the likes of Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, or Martin Odegaard, but make no mistake about it, he is very important. Indeed, while Tomiyasu may not start every week, he gives Arsenal so many options in terms of rotation in the defense, and that will be vital as Mikel Arteta's side get into the routine of playing 2 games per week with the Champions League commitments going forwards. Tomiyasu is a brilliant player, and Arsenal are lucky to have him. Mikel Arteta has now privately told £45 million Arsenal player he is ready to sell him in January. Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta and Thomas Partey have reportedly reached an agreement that the Gunners will listen to offers to sell the midfielder in January. The Ghana international has been a key player for the North Londoners since he joined the club from Atletico Madrid for £45 million in 2020. However, if football transfers are to be believed, his time as an Arsenal player will soon come to an end. Rumors about Thomas Partey leaving Arsenal were very strong in the first 2 months of this summer's transfer window. Clubs in Saudi Arabia, as well as Juventus, showed interest in the Ghana international, but Arsenal decided to keep hold of him in the end. Now, after 3 games as a right back and picking up an injury, Partey's future is up in the air again, and the report claims Mikel Arteta and the Ghanaian had a private meeting to discuss the same last week. The outcome of the meeting was Arteta and Partey mutually agreeing that the best thing for both parties would be for Arsenal to listen to offers to sell the midfielder in the January transfer window. It has been revealed that the Gunners' boss is now ready to let him go. Partey will enter the final 18 months of his contract at the turn of the year. Thomas Partey is still a key player for Arsenal, yes. The Gunners now have Declan Rice, who is arguably better than him, but a fully fit Partey makes Arsenal an incredibly strong side. However, if Partey wants to move on and Arteta is open to letting him leave, a transfer could well happen, and the report claims Juventus remain interested in the Ghana international. It will be interesting to see what happens in the coming months, but if Partey leaves, Arsenal will have to dive back into the market for a replacement. Romano now says there is optimism at Arsenal that 24-year-old will sign a new contract. Fabrizio Romano has now claimed that Arsenal are optimistically pushing on with contract talks with their captain Martin Odegaard. Romano took to X to share the update early this morning. It has been reported that Arsenal were keen to tie the Norwegian down to a new deal, and Romano says there is reason for optimism. He said, Arsenal keep working on Odegaard's new deal with optimism. This will, of course, be excellent news for Arsenal fans, given just how good the 24-year-old has been since arriving permanently. Perhaps a surprise captain to some, Odegaard is now really growing into the role. Moreover, the midfielder also excelled for his country over the break. Odegaard was brilliant for Norway this week and showed an entirely different part of his game. The £30 million man made the most successful tackles for his side, a facet of his game that is really improving. Odegaard is now taking responsibility in all aspects, and Romano's update regarding his contract at Arsenal is no surprise. Of course, the Norway international would be the latest in a string of new deals at Arsenal. Bukayo Saka, William Saliba, Gabriel Martinelli, and Reece Nelson all signed new deals across the summer. Therefore, it's clear that Arsenal are keen to be in control and in a strong position when it comes to their key assets, and there is no better time to start negotiations than when Arsenal are flying high under Mikel Arteta. A new Arsenal contract for captain Martin Odegaard will be a huge statement for the club, and fans will soon hope to see further Romano updates. Odegaard now embodies all that is good about Arsenal, and his renewed deal will be as important as any new signings. Arsenal set to rival PSG to sign a Brazilian youngster who is already being compared to Neymar. Arsenal have now been linked with a move for Grêmio's 15-year-old midfielder Gabriel Magalhaes, a player already being compared to Neymar. That's according to Brazilian outlet Globo, who also confirmed that Paris Saint-Germain are also tracking the youngster. Given his age, Gabriel Magalhaes is yet to sign a professional contract with Grêmio, but it seems a foregone conclusion that he will. Gabriel Magalhaes has already won numerous awards as the best player in multiple competitions in Brazilian youth football, and the report states that Grêmio will now seek to follow a similar plan for development like fellow Brazilian side Santos did with Neymar. The information also insists that Grêmio are currently undergoing a special training program with Gabriel Magalhaes so he can gain muscle mass and play with higher age categories. Clearly, the midfielder is getting a lot of attention in both Brazil and Europe. Arsenal are long-term admirers of extraordinary attacker and will push to sign him next year. New reports are suggesting that Arsenal are ready to reignite their interest in one forward when the January transfer window opens. Arsenal managed to make some top signings over the summer transfer window. It looks like they want to continue strengthening to make sure they can compete at the top. Now, a report from Football Transfers is suggesting that they want to bolster their attack in January. The forward they are ready to go back in for is Dusan Vlahovic. The report goes on to say that the Gunners are set to make a move for Vlahovic in January and are long-term admirers of the player. They were heavily linked to the forward in the summer as well. The extraordinary attacker is still only 23 years old, but he is definitely seen as someone who has a very high ceiling. For his country, Serbia, the forward has 13 goals in just 23 appearances. Meanwhile, for his clubs over the years, Vlahovic has managed 97 goals in 223 appearances. He also already has two in Serie A this campaign. Arsenal definitely need to strengthen their squad if they want to consistently compete with the likes of Manchester City to compete well in multiple competitions, including the Champions League. You need to make sure you have a top squad. The Gunners are definitely getting close to building a strong squad, but it's definitely not complete. The strength will be proven in the Champions League next week. Vlahovic will strengthen the squad, and it will be a huge cup if they manage to pick him up in the January transfer window. As we wrap up today's Arsenal news, remember to stay tuned for daily updates right here on the channel. Don't miss out on the latest updates, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you found this information valuable. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.